What's up, demons? Welcome to the Wankcast. I am Rachel, aka Ranch, aka @RooSpot1s on Tumblr, and I lick rocks for science. And we have Ari here. So Ari, please introduce yourself.
I'm Ari, also @Visenya's Targaryen on Tumblr, and I'm being bullied for liking eagles.
It's true. Lizzie, please introduce yourself.
My name might be Lizzie, but I ain't no lizard.
That's awful. Okay, moving on. Hallie, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Hallie at samtarleys.tumblr.com, but with a C. And I really boned myself on this one, guys.
You did. Lola, finally, please introduce yourself.
My name is Lola. I'm Dire Wolves on Tumblr. And I'm not saying a catchphrase because y'all sound really stupid.
You're not wrong. The subject of our inaugural podcast is Targaryens and all the drama that comes with the Targaryens. I think we should start in the most recent events and move backwards. Number one being the death of Viserion and the complete overshadowment it took over the death of Benjen Stark, aka the best uncle ever.
Hottest Game of Thrones uncle there is.
You're not wrong.
We also need to really acknowledge that on this podcast there are currently 4 people who hate the Targaryens with a living, just a lot of passion. We just really hate them. And there's one person who has a Targaryen URL and who really enjoys the Targaryens as like a dynamic, writes Targaryen fan fiction. So yeah, we might be very biased, but we do have, if you are a Lizard stan, we do have someone who shares your
resident Lizard apologist
that feel unrepresented in this podcast.
She wrote a forced incest fan fiction where Jon marries Aegon and Rhaenys. And she forced me to read it.
I tried. It didn't work.
So that did nothing to help my hating of the Targaryens.
Okay, but Benjen, why?
It was, again, D&D just always use deaths or the destroyment of minor characters to further their own agenda of the plot, which always serves Daenerys Targaryen for some reason.
Right.
It's the boobs.
So what really bothered me here was mainly that everyone was so sad that the dragon died. But it wasn't even the main dragon. It was just a dragon.
The main dragon.
Died dragon.
She had him locked up under the pyramid for so long. Did anyone care about him then? No. But all of a sudden, now that he's dead, it's this big tragedy. Even Dany didn't care. Look at her fucking face. Did Emilia Clarke care that the dragon was dead? Did anyone even tell her that that was what was going to happen on the green screen? I don't think so.
Well, I mean, can we talk about the fact that these are freaking, weapons of mass destruction, too? If I saw a puppy, die, I'd be super sad. Seeing this thing that, burns people alive, I'm like,
And a child. Well, that was Drogon, but, the dragons burned a child alive.
Yeah.
One interesting thing you gotta say about, not interesting. I actually think that Viserion became a lot more interesting after he died, but everyone in the fandom is just really mourning Dany and how terrible her life is. Poor Viserion, the poor dragon. But I actually think that he's before, he/she, because the dragon has no gender or whatever. But I actually think the dragon is way cooler now that it's dead and now that
it's a white
out from the pack,
it has a storyline.
Yes, it has a
personality.
It has a purpose now.
Unfortunately, it has a purpose outside of Drogon. They just favor Drogon so much on that show.
Yeah,
that's why I hate Drogon so much. Viserion seemed like a cool, chill guy on the side. Like,
Yeah,
like,
so
I
really
couldn't even
chill.
prefer.
Viserion never killed a child for no reason
Right.
that we
That we
know
know
of.
of.
You know?
That we
So
know
in
of.
that, I guess I understand why people mourn him, but also he wasn't interesting, and basically, I still don't care. He's just a lizard.
Well, let me just say that when I went online after the episode aired, a lot of people were like, "Wait, that dragon has a name? Like we didn't know anything about that dragon. Why do people care now? Like, oh, Danny, Danny, Danny." But like people were so confused about why she was mourning the dragon because they're like, if they had given any dragon other than Drogon a personality, then they would have understood. But Viserion had no personality whatsoever, other than he followed what Danny.
What's the Rhaegar dragon name again? Like Rhaego or something? Rhaegar?
Rhaego.
Rhaego was
Baby got
Daenerys's
miscarried.
child that died in her womb. But
yeah.
Rhaegal is the other dragon that also doesn't have a personality. But the entire point of Viserys dying, that was the whole point of the series. Like this season was just to make an ice dragon so that they can have more power with the Night King for the next season. Like that was the entire
so that they
point.
seem like a real threat.
Well,
Right.
you know, that's not
They hadn't
completely
moved.
fair. You know, they also had like the John Danny Poldark AU going on where he was mining his
that's-
dragon glass. You know, Danny was playing the good old George Warlegan, and John was, I don't know, a random miner, not even Ross.
Yeah, you don't mine for obsidian. It's
Jesus Christ. Are we gonna go into this?
Do you want me to explain the
Are
geology?
we really gonna do this?
I will explain the geology of obsidian. It's literally lava that has cooled extremely quickly after the eruption of a volcano. And you're gonna find them in layers because they go straight across the ground. But
And it's fragile, right? I mean, I had to back when I was like almost an archaeologist, I had to make like a spearhead out of it or whatever. And it's not
So cool.
that strong. It's very easy to break.
no, it has conchoidal fracture. It doesn't have any like a lattice or a strength to it. I'm not sure what the
Right.
chemical composition
This is
though.
so boring, you guys.
Okay, so sorry.
The question I have with the whole dragon glass thing is, why did John have to be there to supervise it being mined? Like,
I
was
don't
he
know.
doing the mining himself? Like, anyone could
I
have
didn't
done
see
that.
him getting down and dirty in the mines, so I don't
It
think
seemed
so.
like when we did see him, he was just waiting on a cliff for Danny to return. So what was he doing on Dragonstone, if not mining? So
You know how, like, in a game, the second you leave, like, one room, it kind of, like, doesn't exist because the world exists around the character? So I kind of felt like that was this season. John didn't exist outside of his scenes with
Yeah,
Almost the
Yeah,
entire
pretty
season
much. It was
didn't
like- he
exist
was just
outside of scenes
awkwardly-
with Daenerys.
it's true.
He was just, like, awkwardly waiting at the bottom of a cliff for her. Like, what? He was standing there awkwardly. And, like,
but it just
have
kind of
no idea
implied
why.
he was there the entire time waiting for her, which I guess is romantic if you ship Daenerys. But if you,
It doesn't make any sense.
yeah,
Pretty much. Like, he has an entire kingdom he's supposed to be running. He was like, I'll leave you in charge until I come back. And then he just, like, never comes back.
I
Yeah.
was actually really rooting for Sansa to, like, take power and for her to be queen in the north. But, like, it didn't happen, so I was really sad.
Well,
I actually liked Jon so much more than Sansa before this season. But after this season, like, my love of Sansa didn't, like, increase. But, like, I just don't understand Jon anymore.
it's because he just like Benjen became a plot device for development
Yeah.
in, well, Benjen saving Jon and Viserion dying. Became just development for Daenerys. Him getting to know her and them having boat sex just, was another way to move the Targaryen restoration forward because, oh, he's actually a Targaryen. Incest. Woo.
Okay.
He looked more alive lying dead on that table at the beginning than he did this entire season.
Too true, Hallie. You went straight for it. Really did. And I've said this before. Kit acting has gotten better over the years. If you watch season 1, it's just him standing with his mouth open a lot. But this season, outside of the Dany scene, it's fine. But whenever he and Emilia Clarke had a scene together, I was just what is happening? I was really rooting for them before the season aired, and then once the season started airing, I was like, what are they doing? There's no chemistry, and they're supposed to be really good friends. And I was just I was really sore about that because it felt like they didn't put any effort into it. And as a fan of the Targs, that hurt.
There was literally there was nothing moving in between the characters. I don't know if it was the writing or the acting or both. Probably both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
and the directing was weird too.
A caricature of themselves. I feel like.
Yes, everybody is a caricature of themselves now.
Well, the problem with this season,
Arya, oh my god,
especially Arya, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Well, the problem this season was that it relied the entire thing rested on Jon and Dany, who are the two weakest actors on the show. Really, I mean, there's a few weaker ones, but of the main cast, they're the weakest, including the child actors.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm including Lyanna Mormont in there. She's quite dynamic. Yeah, so when it rests on the two weakest actors, that's not good because they had to carry the entire season and they couldn't do it. But then also Emilia Clarke, she does do quite well when she's in scenes with people who do act well. She has good a good dynamic with them. Peter Dinklage, she's good with him. She has really great chemistry with Ian and Glenn.
Yeah, their scenes are always
Jorah
phenomenal.
But
the scene where Jorah returns to her on Dragonstone was by far the best Daenerys scene of the entire season because of the chemistry between the two actors, and also Ian Glenn is just a better actor, so there is more for Emilia to work with, and she was more comfortable, I'm guessing, and that's why
that awkward hug really bothered me. When she hugged him, it's just when they went in too slowly and it just looked very awkward.
Objectively, was
in scenes together, they all the Jorah Dany scenes are really great. They're really dynamic with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was way better than it is in the book, which is just creepy.
Yeah, it's just statutory rape, kind of, basically.
Yeah.
I really I really don't like how they whitewash some of the bad characteristics of some of the characters, like Tyrion. Tyrion is
Tyrion's a piece of shit.
Good character.
Oh, Chloe's here.
Hi.
We should probably do a new introduction.
Yeah, so is Josiah.
Yep, I just haven't said anything.
Yes,
so unusual.
So we have been joined randomly by our good friends Chloe.
You're so awkward. Why'd you do it like that?
Me? Because my entire personality is awkward. Chloe, please introduce yourself quickly.
Hi, I'm Chloe. It's 2 a.m.
Thank you.
Not for all of us.
How's your Khaleesi doing?
I mean, it's wet because of the boat sets, but aside from that, everything's
Oh my
god.
Josiah, please save me and don't say boat sets.
Save us.
I'm Josiah. I'm the token guy. I'm at Aemon Targaryen. Aemon is the only good Targaryen.
Yeah, we'll probably
That's
end
not
up getting
Yeah.
with that.
You know, like,
That is true.
Riella, she didn't do anything wrong.
Okay, but they're
Yeah.
children. Out of the Targaryens that actually have a character, you know, that aren't just a blob of a child, Aemon Targaryen is the best one.
And Prince Aemon the Dragon Knight.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's kind of like an incester.
They're all ancestors.
Literally are all incest.
Why are you acting like that's a
Are you like, it's libel to just claim on a podcast that I have incest relations?
Slander.
I might sue you.
To be clear, we're only referencing the fact that you ship Jansa and write copious amounts of fan fiction for them.
Copious amounts is a bit of an exaggeration.
More than 3 is copious, in my opinion.
A plethora, so to speak.
I have depression. I can barely move in the morning. I don't understand how you can write more than one fanfic.
Well, I'm just a creative person. What can I say? I'm also doing NaNoWriMo and Rimo.
Please don't say Remo. I hate it.
So, does anyone want to explain the 14 flames to me?
Sure.
Yeah, I actually haven't read the books. So,
Wow, this is going to go so well.
I'm not explaining it. So,
I'm completely unfamiliar, so I would like to learn what it
The
is.
14 flames are basically the mines that the Valyrians had their slaves go in. They're described, if we go to like Wiki or whatever, it's pretty horrifying. Basically, it's like any other mine shaft, but it's also in a volcano. So like it's really hot, and then sometimes like you would basically a lot of slaves died there. It's pretty terrible. And
Has anyone read A World of Ice and Fire?
basically, if you go like, how do you describe this? Sometimes you might be mining, like chipping away, and then it'll break open, and then a fireworm will come out at you, which is basically something that's kind of like a dragon and a caterpillar kind of mixed up. It'll, I think, eat you, but kill you, definitely. But I think eat and cook you.
Wait, where is
I'm not
it?
you get
100% sure.
cooked first, or eaten and then cooked?
Not 100% sure, because it's been a while since I read A World of Ice and Fire. Maybe someone wants to look up the 14 Flames wiki, and they can tell you more about the fireworms. Yeah, basically that's also where the Faceless Men got their start. Basically,
The Faceless Men are so cool. I just want to put that out there.
yeah, they wanted to give these people the gift of death because their lives were so terrible. It was kind of
me
like a
too.
suicide service.
Oh, wow. I can stand them. Sign me up.
Yeah. But then they're like, maybe we'll give the gift of death to like the slave
what?
masters. And then they blew up old Valyria with a dragon egg.
So that
Well,
caused
I mean-
the doom of Valyria?
Actually, at this point, I'm not 100% sure what is Reddit theories and
Yeah,
what is canon.
What you
But
just
I'm 90% sure that happened.
what you just said is very much
Okay, I have it here. It says the doom...
not guessed. Not right.
The doom of Valyria, an eruption of all of the 14 flames, destroyed the Valyrian freehold. Great earthquakes destroyed settlements, mountains exploded, and fires burned so hot that even dragons were killed. So essentially, all 14 of the volcanoes that were being mined under exploded and destroyed Valyria. And then we got the Targ invasion.
You know, I think I'm actually thinking not of the books, which, you know, kind of have mixed with all of my tinfoiling, but actually a really cool theory that basically Euron wants to get a dragon egg so he can make it, or like he wants to sell a dragon egg or something and then use it as like a giant nuclear bomb.
Interesting. I can definitely see Euron doing that.
Euron's currently like walking around Westeros and he opens his trench coat and he's got like the horn that brings down the wall in one pocket and like a dragon egg in another, and it's like, it's metal as shit.
That
You've killed me.
dragon egg to take down the wall?
No, he's got the horn of Joranmun or some shit, and it's like, he blows it and that's what brings down the wall, or at least he thinks he has it or something.
Well, it's the dragon binding
like
horn.
Popular theory that the horn is fake.
The horn of Joramun was found by Mance Rhaegar, but it didn't work, or it was broken or something. But Euron has a dragon binding horn.
Yes.
And Sam has a horn too.
I think that's Mance Raider's horn. I can't remember.
Horny boys.
They're all so horny.
No,
please stop this.
Any horny boys?
I mean, they have horns, don't they?
They do. That is actually true.
John, who found it when he found that dragon glass in the book, which may have been Benjen's, because it was recently there and wrapped in a Night's Watch cloak.
Yeah, it's the one Ghost found under the tree, innit?
Yeah, in A Clash of Kings.
I think it was it was when he took his vows, I think.
No.
It wasn't later.
It was when he had, just before he went off with Corn Halfhand. At the Fist of the First.
Yeah. I remember that was.
Oh, I thought Sam found things at the Fist of the First Men.
In the show.
Okay.
In the book, it was John.
God, the show and the book mixed together so much for me, and I hate it.
Well,
the
John
show is
did
just
most of
bad
the stuff in the Clash of Kings because Sam didn't have point of view chapters.
True.
Until A Storm of Swords, right?
I can ask Google.
We really sound like we know our stuff.
Well, I sound like I lie about the Valyrians being bad.
Yeah, you're right. Sam's first POV chapter was the Storm of Swords. So
I do know some things.
So,
I was just gonna ask.
Why is? Oh, sorry.
Gosh, Hallie. Is yours Targaryen related? Because mine is not.
Mine is, but
okay, go ahead.
I feel like.
Well, I was just gonna ask if we think that Rhaegar is the biggest fuckboy in fiction ever.
No, that's not.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Edward takes him by a little.
I think Brandon Stark is a bigger fuckboy. Like, Rhaegar's an idiot, but he's not particularly fuckery, you know?
I think Elia would beg to differ.
Justice for Elia.
Oh, you're right.
Wasn't there that line though that's like Brandon really liked to get blood on his sword?
Yeah.
His sword
Oh my god.
Barbara Dustin.
Yeah, I keep calling her Rival. Yeah, she said that.
Men really like to get their swords bloody.
Ooh.
Especially taking her maidenhood.
My name's George R.R. Martin, and I know exactly how women talk in real life.
I met one woman, my mother.
My mother and my wife, and they are different people.
So have you heard the theory that Rhaegar is actually Daenerys' father because Lola and Rhaegar were hooking up? I think for tinfoil I read, one of the hints was that their names both start with R-H-A.
Well, there's also the one where Tormund is actually Lyanna Stark's father, isn't it? And then
No, not Lyanna Stark's. Lyanna Mormont's father.
Oh.
You're confusing the actual theory with the stuff we were making up before.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not good at theories, obviously. All I'm good at is fighting Ramsay shippers.
Well, basically,
not even.
Good at, quote unquote.
Has no father. It's said that her father was a bear and that her mom, like, fucked a bear.
Okay, but I don't hate that theory, actually. It's got, like, a little bit of evidence. Like, some theories are just crazy, and you don't know how people think them up. But, like, this one was a little well thought out.
Because northern boys make do.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and
please I hate that one.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that Jon and Gendry became canon before Daenerys and
I just hate because everybody took it and immediately started shipping Tormund and Sandor, and I was like, no, 0%.
That I don't see what the problem with that is.
My brain and my body rejects it, and I don't.
You're just a salty Sansan shipper.
Don't come for me.
Given that, like, the rest of this group chat right now is like salty Jansa shippers, like, you know, haha, sucker.
I came to have a good time, and I'm being very attacked.
That's because your ship is bad.
Whoa! Well, I don't insult your ship. Have I ever said a negative word about Jansa unironically?
Yeah.
No. I have made you edits for Jansa.
I mean, you have, and I thank you.
Your notes.
You asked me to make them, so I made them. This is off topic.
This is off topic.
Cut all of this out, please.
You don't need, like, spousal, you know, drama on the chat, on the podcast.
I still love my wife. Thank you.
But really, like, why do people think that the Targaryens are good rulers? There's no basis.
I don't know.
There's 300 years of history against that.
It's so wild.
Maybe we should address some of the Targaryen hate that makes no sense, because I don't want to be associated with, you know, anti-Targaryenism that's illogical. For example, I don't think that the Targaryens are a metaphor for Nazis.
Nope.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're not.
No.
I saw something that was like, oh, Targaryens, and I was just like, that is like, please don't say that. That is an insult. They're not, like, no, you can't just insert the word Aryans and just say, oh, they're like the Nazis now.
Yeah, but it doesn't really work also because we have Arya.
And we all know Arya, the massive white supremacist.
And, like, that actually makes more sense than the Valyrian and Targaryen. Arya. But no, that's not. No.
No.
I also don't like people who are like, oh, you only hate Daenerys because, like, you see her as competition for your ship, which is Jansa.
Ew. I hate that too.
Completely
I
wrong.
understand why people don't like her, and it's like, I understand that it's not just because she's a romantic rival. There are legitimate points against her. There are also legitimate points for her.
Yeah, but one of the things is, I know, like, a lot of people ship Jansa just because they hate Daenerys.
That seems quite idiotic to me.
And that's actually how I personally got into
That doesn't make any sense.
I, like, can't imagine putting that much effort into anything. Well, I mean, I can imagine doing it out of spite, but, like, why choose Jansa and not, like, Gennaro or something?
People kept saying, like, oh, Jon's gonna end up with Dany, and I'm like, that can't be right. That's disgusting. I hate her. Jon's my favorite character. So then I went, I was Googling Reddit theories, and I'm like, what other possibilities? Like, surely someone else has another theory. And, some people were like, Ariane Martell doesn't exist on the show. Some people were like, Marjorie. And I'm like, weird.
No.
You go boo.
And I'm like,
weird.
That's disgusting. Then I read a fan fiction, and I'm like, I guess I'm in this.
You're like,
And
all
it's,
right.
it's real.
That
I
was
really hate how people forget about Ygritte, though. Like
Ygritte was
That was
so
his-
important to Jon in the books.
she was so important, and like Rob, she
She's
was
dead.
not mentioned.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Josiah, we
It's
know
Kesha.
she's dead.
Okay, you guys just hate Sansa because she's a romantic rival for Ygritte.
I don't think that she is like. I don't think that he's a rival. Like, I think that the Great Divide of Death is enough of an obstacle for them.
Okay, so yeah, I don't think that Dany is like a Nazi at all.
No.
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 I think say that if we're gonna go for historical metaphors, the one that makes most sense is comparing her to like British imperialists.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Well, I think like,
Are you a
Bye,
British
guys.
imperialist?
Little known. Chloe
Little known
single-handedly conquered another island.
Most of us are American, and we all know what went down here in history, so...
Well, I mean, I'm not saying anything.
So basically, the British Empire existed and was still conquering new places. At the same time, they got rid of slavery. So it kind of proves that you can get rid of slavery and still be an imperialist.
And
the biggest empire in the world was the one getting rid of the slave trade at the time.
and also, we were the ones getting rid of slavery, but we were also the ones who had introduced slavery, just like the Valerians did. So, I mean, oh my god, perfect metaphor. Love it.
Yeah.
Please don't associate Daenerys as being British ever again. I already have enough, like, guilt. I don't want this. I don't claim
Real
her.
life guilt.
Well, I would say that she's probably more of like a John Graves Simcoe than a Lannis.tumblr.com.
Well, now you're just throwing out references I don't even understand. I'm too old for this.
Well, I think John Graves Simcoe was the guy who got slavery banned, like the British imperialists got slavery banned.
I'm too old for this.
I'm too old for this.
It's a history reference.
My brain is already full of nonsense. I have no more room for anything else.
Well,
How did we get into
Anyways,
this?
moving on.
I'd like to point out that George Martin invented an animal called the Zorse. It appears to just be a zebra,
Oh,
but it's called a Zorse. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Josiah.
Josiah's just like silently looking through a world of ice and fire wiki, like, what else can I bring up today?
Another terrible Targaryen hatred thing, like, is saying that Dany is a conquistador and the Starks have made it
Bad.
no.
That makes no sense. That's also offensive to Native Americans, who have really suffered a lot more than the Starks ever have.
I just think a lot of Daenerys's bad qualities tend to come from the fact that she's 13, 14 years old, and they didn't translate that well into the show, where she still has the emotional capacity and thought process of a 13, 14-year-old girl, and it makes no sense seeing it in a 30-year-old woman.
Agreed. Oh my god. Part of the reason that I find her so compelling in the books, and the reason that I like her in the books, is that she's a child and she's struggling so much by herself because she really can't trust anyone else. And in the show, they just like take away that internal struggle for her. They just have Emilia Clarke staring blankly because she can't emote, and you lose so much of your sympathy for her.
Yeah, really.
I saw some Daenerys bloggers like a few months ago saying something like, I bet Kit and Emilia did a screen test for chemistry.
Wow, that worked out.
What I think is, I don't think they even had like Emilia Clarke try to do any later scene acting to see if she could pull that off. I think they just did maybe
just look at them titties.
Literally, they probably just looked at her boobs and said, "Yeah, cast her."
Nailed it.
Well, she was very good in season 1. I just don't think she can pull off.
She was good in season 1 because season 1 Daenerys is very like wide-eyed and trying to figure what the fuck is happening. It doesn't translate when you try and act the character the same way in the first season. In the 7th season, the character has changed. Yet her acting style has not to fit the character.
Right. I'm just saying that she wasn't bad in season 1.
I actually really liked her in season 1.
Yeah, same.
So did I.
Yeah, me too.
I was very sympathetic. I think that the guy who played Viserys, I forget his name. He played
Harry Lloyd
so well. Harry Lloyd. He played it so well.
Yeah.
He's
like,
fucking great.
I felt like he came right off the page. Like, it was amazing.
What's crazy about Viserys, the guy like Harry Lloyd, is I think he's actually attractive in real life, but then they put that wig on him and he looks hideous.
The family wig.
Rhaegar's wig.
Yeah, the Targ wig. It immediately makes you inbred.
He is.
This is why you don't do incest.
I think Emilia Clarke.
Oh yeah, that's why.
Not Targ-cest.
You just
get
don't
bad
want to have
wig.
to wear the wig. The only fair
Oh my
family
gosh.
heirloom.
Josiah was.
I've totally. Harry Lloyd is in my favorite Doctor Who stories.
Yep.
Sorry.
Okay, unrelated. Moving on.
No, it's a
I'm
really
sorry.
good episode.
They're so good.
no.
They're like the epitome, the best episodes of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Doctor Who.
We're talking about Harry Lloyd and how hot he
This
is.
is called the Wank Cat.
Josiah.
We're supposed
Josiah.
to be complaining.
Do you want to do a Doctor Who podcast, just me and you, and it'll just be us talking about how good those 2 episodes are?
Yes. Just in the middle of this podcast, we're going to start another podcast about Doctor Who.
Guys, we've got to go. We've got to make a new Discord.
You know who else was in Doctor Who?
Everyone, but go on.
A lot of people.
Liam
That really
Cunningham.
wasn't. Oh my god.
Oh, Maisie Williams.
Oh yeah, she was. But more importantly,
Like a season.
more importantly,
and then they just got very weird.
Liam Cunningham. I'm just saying.
I knew she was gonna freaking mention Liam.
Daddy. No, I'm kidding.
I'm still waiting for Liam Cunningham to
Oh.
Oh, he was in the Zygon episodes.
Yep.
You know what? We should
I
just
didn't
end
like
this.
that episode.
We should just end this because I will just talk about Doctor Who for like the next
He
10
auditioned
minutes.
for the 8th Doctor. I want him as the 8th Doctor. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, Paul McGann is a beautiful
sorry,
human
Paul.
being.
But I would rather have Liam Cunningham.
We can't
Yes,
go back
but-
and change history.
Whoa, whoa.
Please.
He auditioned. I'm saying
Someone's
he
never
auditioned
watched.
for the role. Yeah, okay. This is also talking about a time travel show.
Yeah, but we can't go back to like what 1980 and get Liam Cunningham.
It's like 1996.
1996.
Granted, the year before I was born, but still.
Oh, y'all
that-
are so young.
Tangent reminds me of how, like, when John, not even when John and Davos return to Dragonstone, but like when Daenerys suddenly walks onto Dragonstone and it's completely different, like the vibe, and it's not dark and shit, and it's like, wow,
Dragonstone regenerated.
you can finally tell they care about it because Daenerys is here. God, why do they have to hate Stannis so much?
Also, why did they turn Davos into a freaking pimp this season?
That
Like, that was
only,
his
like,
only
As,
purpose.
as we
this
all
season.
know,
Yeah.
Davos absolutely does not mourn his sons and does not miss his wife. They are key characteristics of Book Davos at all times.
Granted, they never
God.
even introduced his wife in the show, so I don't think she canonically in the show exists. Only
I think in the
Mathos.
show he's canonically gay for Stannis.
Well,
Well,
that
yes,
is
it's
true.
The books too. Come on.
Yeah, but his wife was just a beard in the show, and now that his one kid is dead, he's pretty much tossed her aside. And then he went up north with, his real husband.
Mhm.
Real partner.
But in season 7, they just turned him into like the comedic relief that wasn't even that good.
Oh my
No,
god.
Okay, quick question.
I know.
Was he trying to
see
like
you staring
pump
at the
Sunday?
Was he trying to
I don't,
what?
yeah, it seemed like he was
I
trying
don't
to
know
get a
whether
new
he was.
beard.
I don't know whether he was like trying to be her dad or a daddy, and it's really disturbing me because I don't know how to interpret those scenes.
I think they were like, oh, you know that kind of creepy Tormund Brienne relationship? That went over really well with the fan base. Maybe we could, throw Davos.
But this time with an age difference.
Wow, I honestly feel so attacked right now.
This time with an age difference. The ranch story.
This is so true. Josiah, why are you attacking me? You also wrote a Sansa Davos fanfic.
Daenerys is a shit.
I'm saying
I'm
I'm not denying.
I don't know, hypocritical. If I'm going down, I'm pulling you with me. But yeah, that scene I was like very squinty-eyed at, but I eventually took it as he was trying to adopt her.
I am just trustful.
But me, being me, I'd be okay if it went the other direction.
That was not shocking.
No,
That was not worthy of a gasp.
That wasn't
It was
a
a
gasp,
sigh.
that was a sigh of disappointment. I'm just disappointed, not surprised.
Guys, I'm in agony.
God, spare Aegon is the worst thing out of everything in this whole show.
I'm
So-
going to kill myself.
I am gonna kill myself.
Like, in season 7, we had the bad interactions between Jonah and Daenerys, the bad writing, the frickin' zombie polar bear that was just written in
We
because
don't
they
talk
wanted
about
it
those
to be.
sometimes.
They literally were like, for years we
But I
just wanted
didn't
a
even know
zombie polar bears. We finally
were
did it.
there.
And I'm like, could you not use that money to put Ghost in somewhere?
Oh my
Hey,
god.
remember
The
how they
zombie
didn't
polar
do
bear.
Lady Stoneheart?
Ugh.
Let's not
The
even go
zombie
there.
polar bear that killed a guy that wasn't there before and wasn't there afterward.
Who
Who did the bear kill?
Every time I watched that scene, I was like, okay, there are like 5 people. And then there would be a scene where someone had to die, and it was not one of those 5 people. It was like one of 7 people. Where did those 2 extra people come from? I have no idea.
And then they disappear again. Just,
Okay, this is my
it's like the epitome of red shirt thing.
But spare Aegon
The polar
is
bear
the
came and got him.
worst. The worst.
Guys,
Why did they have to name him Aegon?
Really,
I don't know.
know.
I was gonna ask the same question.
it's the
Can someone
Elia
who like
eraser.
read the book, like someone who read the books, like is there anything in there?
I mean,
Like why?
No.
it's weird anyway because the show's essentially cut out a generation of Targaryens. They've made Aemon like his like great uncle instead of his great great uncle. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of hard to say whether or not what's foreshadowing or not in the books because some of it is just pure being cut out. So
I just can't remember if. No, I'm pretty sure they mentioned Aegon and Rhaenys.
They did.
In the show.
They did.
So that canonically
They
means
did.
that
They
Rhaegar
had it in one of the
Targaryen
early
named
seasons.
2 of his sons that were living Aegon.
But I think in the past, Targaryen, like,
A1 and A2.
had named
Okay.
2 different Aegon, like 2 of their kids Aegon.
New
I can
OTP,
believe that of
the Aegon
Rhaegar,
that
but I
died,
don't. Oh,
and John.
Josiah.
Aegon
Well,
Square.
Ari's
Aegon
actually
squared.
written fan fiction for that.
I have.
But it's like a 3-way also with Rhaenys.
Okay,
Nice.
listen, Rhaegar wins AU, okay?
Rhaegar wins AU is very triggering to me. Like, I don't even want to hear those
It's
words.
extremely triggering to me as well.
Triggered.
Yeah.
It's not only
Okay,
Rhaegar,
It's bad.
also a femme
We'll
John.
steer away from that. Yes, it is. We'll steer away from that. I just have one point I want to bring up. Like, I can believe that Rhaegar would be that stupid to name both of his living sons at that point. They were both alive. Aegon. But I cannot believe that Lyanna would allow him to name
Well, they
them
already
both.
destroyed her entire character, so why not?
Yeah,
go the
Lyanna
extra
was
mile?
also 14.
I was so excited in season 6 when they had that Tower of Joy scene, and then this season I was just like, what the fuck were they doing?
You know what they say about Lyanna Stark? Beautiful, a doormat, and dead before her time.
Jesus Christ.
Don't insult my daughter that way.
We shall not joke about this.
No, it's not funny. They destroyed her.
They just destroyed all of the Dead Ladies Club.
Is the reason why Lola feels such an affinity to Lyanna because they're both 16-year-old girls?
All right, Lola, there's an important question. If a 30-year-old man who's already married, 30-plus-year-old man who's already married and has 2 kids with his first wife came up to you
Rhaegar
and wanted
wasn't
to
30
run away,
plus.
I have no idea.
30.
Ages
like
don't make,
24.
The answer is
Okay.
no.
ages in Game of
the
Thrones
answer-
make no sense.
The
He's
answer
like
is
24.
All right, fine. I'm sorry.
So that
The
same
answer is
situation.
no.
Yeah,
Just no. Good,
So what
good
if you-
choice.
but at the heart, basically a rock star.
Yes.
No.
Say
Really?
Lola
Liam.
has morals, okay? Don't attack her
Lola
like
also
this.
hates men, so this was a really unfair question.
Yeah, I guess we probably shouldn't be asking lesbian doing this heterosexual situation.
I'm not a lesbian.
Yeah, you still hate men, though.
Yep.
I want to backtrack a little bit to the Aegon topic, but why do people have to tag Jon as Aegon Targaryen
God.
now?
Because they're
hate that.
fools.
Because they love the Targaryens, and therefore hate themselves.
You know Jon is
Wow.
never gonna go by
Wow.
Aegon. He's not.
Okay,
Well,
guys, you know what I
it
hate?
also just shows a
is
huge
he was-
misunderstanding of Jon's character.
hmm
Yeah. What I
you
hated was
don't
that
get him.
once he was called a Targaryen, he was everyone was like, "Oh yeah, he's a legitimate person," and I was like, "What's so intrinsic to his story is that he's not legitimate, that he's a bastard, that he has to learn how to accept himself." Yeah,
In fact, he accepts himself as a Stark bastard. You know, that's pretty low. So low.
Ooh,
But then
harsh.
you know what's lower? But you know what's lower than that? A legitimate Targaryen. That's
Do you know what's lower than that?
He thought he hit rock bottom with being born. No, but it was much worse. He's Aegon Targaryen.
But even the legitimization of him in the show makes zero sense. What? Religious official annuls a marriage with not one but two children, one of which
secret.
is male, in order to marry him to this other chick in secret, and then writes it down.
Dear diary, today I helped Rhaegar shack up.
Okay, what I want to know is, did Emilia know that she was annulled?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
I mean,
She was
we're talking
like
about
busy
show-
gone girling.
Did Ares know that wasn't the queen anymore? That was
No.
just some divorcee?
No, he
Probably
would have
not.
killed her if he didn't know. If he knew. I can't talk.
Yeah, he definitely would have.
I mean, okay, forget that. Oberyn would have killed Rhaegar.
Yeah.
Oh god, I love Oberyn.
Okay, I love how Pedro Pascal is so bitter about what they did with the Dornish storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so bitter about it. It's great.
Understandably.
Yep.
He's also hot.
The one true daddy.
Can we not?
No, I don't. I don't.
Why
even-
not? Why not?
We all know.
I don't want a new daddy kink on the podcast.
I am the one true daddy.
Oh, now I feel
Rachel-
dirty.
You're my dad.
That's true. Sorry.
Me too.
So
Rachel
do we
is
have
the father of my children, so
Yep.
do we have anyone here who signs on to the like Tyrion is a secret Targaryen theory?
Nope.
No.
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 I like fluctuate between yes and no.
No,
Oh,
I'm just
honey.
completely no.
I
It
don't
would-
want him to be that important.
No. It would also, it would just
I just
be
want
a
him
big
to shut up.
letdown because like we've from the beginning, it's always been Daenerys, Jon, and Tyrion are the most important characters, and it would just be really.
That they all become Targaryens.
Yeah, it would be very disappointing that your
Right.
three main
Yeah.
characters happen to be the three heads of the dragon. Ooh. But even now, I don't think they'll do it because they only have 2 dragons. So you fucking can't
Yeah.
ride a dead dragon that's controlled by an ice king.
The
No,
third head
no,
of the
no.
dragon is
The
the
third-
Night King.
No. You little fools. You have clearly not been keeping up with the John X Danny blogosphere. The third head of the dragon is
Their
John
child.
and Danny's fetus. That is also the princess
Oh.
promise. As we like to call it, the magic incest baby.
Oh, can
From
you
the fairy
not?
fuck realm.
To first-time listeners who don't know what the magic incest baby is,
First time listeners.
This is the first episode.
First time listeners. It's if you
Everyone
haven't
hack into the Discord.
yeah, if none of you have been paying attention to our Discord group chat.
To our invite-only Discord group chat.
anyway, the magic incest baby is the colloquial name for John and Danny's future spawn. The reason why the baby is a magic baby is because Danny's womb has been cursed by a witch. However, there's a big theory in the John X Danny fandom that she is now pregnant because John's sperm is magical for her barren womb because they're both Targaryens, and therefore, the incest saves the day. So it's not like
kill a guy, and his sperm instantly becomes like turbocharged. It's great.
so what people think is it was foreshadowed by in Danny's
Go on.
what's it called, the
Visions.
dying. Yeah, basically they're like
Sex dream.
a blue flower grew in a chink of ice and filled the air with sweetness. I read some speculation that the chink of ice is Danny's barren, like fucked up, cursed womb, and maybe we're growing in it is John's sperm.
Okay, guys, it's simple science, alright? Like dissolves like. Targaryen sperm dissolves this
Go on.
curse. The witch's curse. It dissolves the curse to get up into the Targaryen uterus, like baby.
Well, great podcast, guys. See you all next week.
Number one cure for not being able to have children is fuck your nephew.
Oh, no.
You're not actually endorsing that? Please don't. Please don't go fuck your nephews.
But apparently an example of foreshadowing in the show season finale, John and Danny played, or passed around a baby dragon.
It's like pass the parcel and they just pull off the baby.
Like kind of like a show and tell, and we're like
They started,
discussing babies.
Started playing catch with it.
Kobe.
Buckets.
But I don't know. I personally find it kind of
Danny.
weird because, imagine that was a human baby skull, just of a human Targaryen. They were passing it. I don't know. In any case,
No, you
that
take it.
baby-
No, you
that baby dragon is dead. That's not a good sign, right? That's not a baby who lived a healthy life.
Children. Dragons aren't children.
Yeah,
So,
lizards aren't children.
Okay, but if this is a metaphorically speaking, a figurative speech, we're not in the literal. Danny is the mother dragon.
Put that out there.
Either way, lizards
actually
aren't
wanted to
children.
make it clear that we don't claim them as her biological children, as some people like to think of them.
No, dragons came straight out
Okay,
the pillar.
wait. I need to ask this. Do dragons reproduce asexually?
No,
they lay
dragons. dragons are both male and female, so they just do whatever they gotta do, you know?
Okay.
Like, that's not actually me
that
taking the
mean,
piss, that's
though?
actual canon.
We don't really know because like
They don't.
they lay eggs, but no one knows how they got fertilized. Because essentially, didn't Dany fertilize them in her like witch fire?
I don't know, but I think
Wait a minute. Okay.
That would make Dany like the father of the dragons, not the
and
mother.
Additionally, if that's how you'd fertilize dragon eggs is by witch fire. Were these eggs born from a dragon that was also fertilized, or like were the dragon mother, the dragon that laid these eggs, right? Was that dragon born? Was it also by a Targaryen?
Before we go
Basically,
into
I'm asking: are these dragons incest babies?
these lizards,
I think that scene though, for me, proves that Dany is Azor Ahai, or the prince that was promised. Like, I think she's the most likely candidate for that prophecy.
Yeah, me too. Well, she literally didn't she raise dragons out of stone? Like, she's probably the prince who was promised. But
I see a lot of
to the eggs.
The eggs.
Aegon. She's just fertilizing.
life finds a way.
The eggs are actually from a shy.
Oh,
like canonically, they're like Illyria got them for her from a shy, right?
Yeah.
So they're not Targaryen dragon eggs.
They're not.
She's a
incest
phony.
babies.
Well, she fertilized them, so she's still the father of dragons. Like, that's her jizz.
Plot twist.
Slash.
Wow, this wig in season 1 was so.
That wig's a slut.
The wig is too powerful. That's why they had to cut it.
I just googled how do dragons spawn, so that's the capacity my brain's going at right now. I can't do this many things at once.
So, I mean, this is kind of Targaryen related, I suppose, but why did they choose why did they choose such an uncomfortable seat?
Oh, that was deliberate. That was actually the one good thing any Targaryens ever done in their lives. It's the one Targaryen who's like, you know what, maybe being a king should be super easy and fun and just about getting pumped all the time, you know? So let this one slide.
That was Aegon the Conqueror.
Yeah.
He was kind of a douche.
He was the fucking worst. He was a conqueror. He was the worst.
He was worse than even
Dynasty.
Daenerys.
He was the British imperialist. The OG.
He's the
Round
one.
one.
He's
Oh,
the
you're trying to
imperialist.
defend your own. You've
I am.
been brainwashed.
Once again, I've got to go.
Okay, so I don't really understand how someone could be a conqueror. I guess maybe that's why I don't like the Targaryens. I just can't relate. I have
haven't conquered anyone today. I can't relate.
a lot. I kind of well, keep in mind that the people in this podcast have a group chat called Sad Sacks that's just about talking about our depression. And so I don't think anyone here has the energy to be conquerors, so that's part of our judgment.
Right.
I definitely have the internal ambition. I just don't have the energy.
Right.
You know how
Wake up in
ready
the
to
morning.
fight I am.
Sure, I might say I would invade Westeros, but would I get out of bed that morning? No. I would never follow through.
I'd snooze my alarm 3 times, then dismiss it and stay in bed.
Solid plan.
Your alarm's your 2 sister wives. Just telling you to wake up.
Just
His twin sisters.
Slapping him on the head. Shut up.
Viserion and Rhaenys weren't twins.
They were
Sister
not.
wives?
But
Josiah's sisters are.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too real, Lola.
Moving on.
They're actually my sister wives.
So I wanna
Little known fact.
conclude this with the Slavers Bay disaster. Just all of that. Leaving Marine in the hands of Dario Naharis, and then also
Oh my god.
Astapor.
Yes, because he's totally like qualified to rule an entire city. Yeah.
You know he just
when
fucked
when
off
he
a
was
month
killing
after.
people. Yeah.
The thing about getting rid of slavery, it's actually like, really amazing that someone wants to put in the effort, to liberate people who are clearly suffering. Like a lot more than, I don't know, the people on Dragonstone or whatever. Like people who are bound
The 4
and
people
chained,
on Dragonstone.
chattel slavery. That's horrible. It's really great that Daenerys wanted to liberate them. But liberating people from slavery is like the work of a lifetime. It's like something you spend a lot of time on, not just a few years when you're a teenager.
Nah, 10 minutes and it's done,
This is her gap year before she goes off to college and becomes serious,
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
What people's problem with Dany like wrecking the economy of Slavers Bay is not like, oh my god, Dany such a bitch for liberating those slaves. It's more like, Dany, why would you start something and then leave it to just become more violent and more chaotic? Why don't you follow through if you're this great leader, great military mind?
Yeah.
Why don't you just fix it completely?
It shows it's not something that's long term for her. If she's trying to be a leader, right? I mean, like, look at what happened after, slavery ended, after the Civil War, and Reconstruction ended up, people kind of just wiped their hands of the thing, and then that's how you got Jim Crow, and that's how you got, like, a lot of shit went downhill because there was no follow-through. I mean, obviously, people were still racist, so there was that thing, but there was no follow-through on a lot of the things, and that's why everything was so fucked up. So you can't just be like, oh, I want to play leader, I want to sit on the throne, I want to do this, and then just totally fuck off. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah, she was like on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Well,
She's also doing something shiny.
In the books, she hasn't done that. In the books, she has not gone to Westeros. She's like actually committed. She's staying in Marine. But in the show,
no, in the book she's not committed. In the book, the last thing that happened was her going on her vision quest and is like, "I'm a dragon, fire and blood.
Yeah.
Remember
In the
your
book,
words,
she's currently
Khaleesi."
like shitting her lungs out in the middle of the Dothraki shit sea,
Okay, but that was
So when
like
she
an
comes
emergency
back, she's not going to be like this leader. She'd basically given up on peace and Marine.
Yeah. Okay, agreed.
fucking YOLO.
She'd also pretty much given up on slavery not being a thing anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
Who has a
people
dog
were selling
story?
themselves back into bondage. In the book, slavery is not abolished. And she also has people conscripted to go do forced labor. So, like, slavery is not abolished at all. And it's open war zones,
Well, so, I mean, just one thing I want to point out, which is kind of like backtracking. I think it's just the grand theme of like the Targaryens overall. It's just like, so with Westeros, it's kind of like that meme, where it's like, look what you've done with it. Now it's got anxiety. Like, look at what they did with it. Now they have like a crap ton of like infighting and like everything that all of the shit that they're going through. Not much progress. Clearly, they're the same that they've been for centuries. Like, there's no movement forward. Like.
Well, to be fair, she is
like,
against slavery where other people, were for slavery, so that is some progress.
I mean, yeah, but I'm saying like the Targaryens in general, though. Like, look at Westeros is not in the best shape in the entire series because, I mean, maybe they shouldn't have been unified. Isn't that like what some of the argument is that they should have just been left?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they would have just been left to their own devices.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people overlook this, but like the Starks, they're the heroes of the story to us, but like historically, the rest of Westeros did not benefit from the Starks being a separate kingdom. The Starks were kind of bloodthirsty during the winter, and they would come down and like start wars in the middle of the winter because they literally like had too many mouths to feed.
I mean, yeah, but they were really cool at the same time. So, like,
I know, and I love them.
Rach,
like,
you're gonna edit this part out, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
dark negativity do not interact.
Yeah. Is someone gonna eject Ari? Like, what's happening right now?
no,
I'm
Anti-Theon
putting
Starks do
a
not
Targ
interact.
apologist on here.
The hungry wolf.
okay, no, I really love the old Stark stories, and I really love that they're like not beaten down and they're really strong. Like where they're at right now in the series, in the show, yes, they're on the rise, but in the books, they're still like in hiding and hibernation.
Hibernation.
Wolves don't hibernate, Ari.
Okay, it's a metaphor.
For bears.
The Mormons are hibernating.
Yeah.
The Mormons are hibernating. Darn it, you got
They're
there
wolves,
first.
God. Wolves don't hibernate. Come on, Ari, get together. Snap, snap.
Okay, fine. What I'm saying is that, like, I do think that they should have been 7 kingdoms, but, like, the Starks also have a checkered past, and they're not like, oh, yay, all the Starks. I love them, but they have a really violent past.
The thing is, what I think is those two things aren't correlated because being, like, Highlanders were often violent. That doesn't mean that anyone had the right to take them over.
Once again, I'm so sorry about that.
But basically, just because a country is shitty doesn't mean that it deserves to be in a political union that the people don't want to be in. Like, that's not how sovereignty should work.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like, join my country or you're gonna burn.
Right.
Yeah.
You can find examples of that all over the world. I mean, look at some of the situations that are coming out of Africa because, the colonists drew these lines kind of arbitrarily and put, different tribes together, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Like, different nations were put together who,
Right.
it caused strife. Same thing happens in Europe because of empires, or...
Ooh.
Chloe, you're just gonna be apologizing for the rest
How
of your
about an
life.
example like this? Germany, they were pretty bad in World War II.
Yeah, pretty bad.
As someone
No
who
one
speaks
here is German, so
No.
that's a fair
This is
one.
safe. This is safe.
I'm of German descent, so I
Oh,
apologize.
God.
I speak
Anyway,
German, so double apology.
But,
Aren't we
it's not
all
even-
from Africa, though?
Oh,
Josiah, shut the fuck up.
Josiah doesn't see color.
He's colorblind, actually.
But 300 years after, the Nazis did their shit, way before that, Germans can have their own country.
I don't understand anything that you just said.
So basically, just because a country attacks us doesn't mean that they don't get to be a country anymore.
yeah.
And Germany did a lot worse stuff than the Starks did during World War II. And we still... Did you say well?
I feel like we have to go. I feel like the podcast is over. I don't know where we can go from there. The Starks aren't as bad as the Nazis. I mean, I guess.
This is just downhill.
Basically, just because you're a shit doesn't mean you don't deserve to be a shit in your own land with your own people.
Get off my lawn.
I'm
off to get my mallet.
Get off my lawn, you imperialist.
That's gonna be the title of this podcast. It's gonna be Targyikes, get off my lawn, you imperialist. Okay, I think it's probably time to conclude this. We've been recording for over an hour.
Should we do like a bonus feature, which is like a dramatic reading of Crumble Into Me?
No. I'm stopping this recording. Okay.
That's for Patreons only.
That's a different podcast.
Okay,
Goodbye, everyone.
That's a mine and Josiah's Doctor Who podcast.